Welcome to my channel, and this is a scary story. I was working as a caregiver for an elderly woman who had dementia. I'd been with her for about 2 years. Her name was Helen, and she was very sweet. She loved to feed the birds outside her window, and she loved to watch the birds. We'd sit for hours sometimes just watching the birds together. Now, Helen lived in a small town, but it was near a lake, and there was a nature preserve nearby where people would go hiking and biking and all sorts of things. This particular summer was really hot, and I remember sitting in her living room with no air conditioning and just swatting at flies and drinking warm water from the cups we got from the Dollar General. That's what we drank from. Not from cups, from the Dollar General. Anyways, one day I was sitting with Helen and she kept asking me over, told you, again if a bird feeder was full. Now, normally I would have just told her yes, it's full, leave it alone. You filled it up enough for the week, etc. But something about the way she was asking me, it was so insistent and so desperate that I finally got up and went to the window to look. Now, normally I'd open the blinds and the curtains, but for some reason, maybe because it was so hot, I didn't. I just stood there and looked out the window, and I could see that the bird feeder was indeed empty. So I figured, well, let's go fill it up. Maybe a few more seeds wouldn't hurt. So I walked out into the backyard and grabbed the bird feeder. Now, this bird feeder was one of those tube ones that you have to sort of squeeze to get the seeds out. And as I was squeezing it, I started thinking, why did I even bother looking? It was clearly full yesterday, when I was sitting here with her. Why did she want me to check? And why am I giving in to an old woman with dementia, who thinks she is feeding the birds when all she is doing is scattering seeds all over the ground for the squirrels and the deer? But then I thought, maybe this will be a good story to tell my friends. I mean, I work with an old woman who has dementia. These things happen. Anyways, as I'm walking back into the house with the bird feeder in my hand, I suddenly hear what I swear was a scream in the woods behind our house. Now, I live in the country. I hear all sorts of noises at night. Owls, crickets, frogs, dogs, you name it. But this sound, it wasn't any of those things. It was a scream, like a human scream. And then I heard what sounded like heavy footsteps coming from the woods. Now, I don't know what it was, but something was definitely out there. I felt it. I mean, the hairs on the back of my neck were standing up. I turned round, and I started walking backwards towards the front door with the bird feeder still in my hand. That's when I saw it. Standing in the middle of my living room was the old woman I had been sitting with just a moment ago, and behind her, also standing in the living room, was a dark, shadowy figure that seemed to be reaching for her. Well, I screamed and I ran out the front door, not stopping to look back. I ran as fast as I could, as far as I could, not stopping until I reached a neighbor's house. I didn't even bother knocking. I just let myself in, sat down on their couch, and waited for my heart to stop pounding in my chest. When I finally got myself together, I called 911 and reported what I had seen. The police came out and they searched the area, but they didn't find anything or anyone. They said it was probably just a dream and to have a nice day. Yeah, I never went back to that house. To this day, I don't know what that sound was in the woods that night, nor do I know what that shadowy figure was that I saw standing in my living room. But every time I hear a scream in the woods, I can't help but think that maybe it was her. Maybe it was the old woman whose bird feeder I forgot to fill up that night. Thanks for listening.